Today we will learn a poem titled Listening to Myself by the Canadian poet Alfred Wellington Purdy, Al Purdy or A.W. Purdy. Alfred Wellington Purdy was a product of the post-war period of economic depression. He brings into his poetry Canada's past and the change that had come over in Canada. He felt that this modern style could not convey that loss of identity, loss of sense of place and belonging, and loss of home they experienced in a rapidly changing world. I hope you all have your poems or the text in front of you. Look on to the poem. We'll begin the poem now. This poem, Listening to Myself, expresses a longing to return to the old pastoral life of early Canadians. The poet is dissatisfied at the rush of modernity and the influence of the fast-paced American culture. The poet feels that he was happy during those olden days when the life was simple though hard and harsh. He also feels that those days, that is, the good old past days, Canadians truly belong to the land. As you see the poem, it's written in free verse. The poet speaks through the narrator, a pioneer axeman who survived this unfamiliar and harsh terrain, who withstood this extreme climate to create a home of his own. The pioneer axeman hacked his way through the rough terrain, and so he had close connection to the land. He touched the land and its trees with bare hands and pushed the boundaries of his ability to survive. The poet, through the persona of this pioneer axeman, expresses his sorrow because those days are lost in the making of the country that has become modern and industrialized. The title, Listening to Myself, it hints at the poet's identification with Canada. Myself means his inner voice. That means poet is listening to the voice of his country. So, listening to myself means looking into one's own past. Thus, by listening or looking into one's past, it helps to rekindle their will to survive. As you recapture your past, it gives you the ability or it inspires you to survive against all odds. The poet hopes that by listening, Canadians will learn to remember who they are and where they come from. Now you look into the poem. I see myself staggering through deep snow, lugging blocks of wood yesterday, an old man, almost falling from bodily weakness, looked down on myself from above, then front and both sides, white hair, wrinkled face and hands. It's really not very surprising that love spoken by my voice should be what, when I am listening, ridiculous. Here, the picture he sees of himself is not attractive. How does he look? He looks with white hair, wrinkled face, and hands. It doesn't give him any confidence. He lacks esteem, and the poet thinks that modern Canadians are ashamed or embarrassed at the sight of their ancestors. And actually, they are supposed to be proud of their ancestors, their hard working. That is the survival of their looking at the survival of their ancestors. They need to be proud of. But here you can see the today modern Canadians are not at all proud of their ancestors because ancestors seem to be rough and uncultured or not sophisticated and old, and they are old fashioned, just like this old man who looks wrinkled and useless. This pioneer axeman bears a great love for the land. But for the modern Canadians, loving one's land or being patriotic is a ridiculous concept. They laugh at their old people because they feel that why should one love a land that is very rough and harsh? When these modern Canadians, when they look at the land, they feel that there is nothing to love. Why our ancestors loved this land? Because it's very rough, it's very harsh. He seems himself as a foolish old man for loving that land. What drives him to love this land? Why should I love my land? The old man, he thinks, that is the pioneer axeman, he thinks. And he concludes, it is his brain on fire. Fire here is symbolic, or it is a symbol here. It means determination, passion, etc. The speaker feels that it is not the physical strength that helped him survive in this rough land, but his determination. It is his will that helped him survive against all odds. We'll continue the poem in the next class. Thank you.